All right, I just had this crazy interaction with AI using the new ChatGPT image generation system, and it created some incredible ads. If you're not using AI for creating ads, please just try it. I'm not going to say it's going to for sure work for you and all that. And this is not taking the jobs of creatives or anything like that, but it is something worth experimenting with and playing with. Let me show you what I did. So I went in and I said, okay, great. Here is this really cool old ad that just has the right tone of voice. It's a little snarky. Honestly, now, did you spend your youth dreaming about someday owning a Nissan or a Mitsubishi? It's from Porsche. It has some good things underneath it. It's kind of fun, and I love the snark inside of it. So I went in and said, okay, ChatGPT, go to my website, www.getmasset.com, and learn what we do. Now, here is something I will outright say. When working with AI, I have found this time and time again, even if you include your URL, tell ChatGPT to go there and learn from that URL. Then the conversation and the content get really good. But if you just include it, a lot of times it'll make assumptions or won't crawl it or all sorts of interesting things. So, first and foremost, go do that. So, it crawled all of the information. And then I said, okay, great, make an ad for what we do. It came up with some good copy. I said, okay, well, let's match the tone. It's not perfect. And again, this is something that people are still getting used to with AI. You can have a conversation, correct AI, make it better. Don't just say, okay, the first response is going to be the only response that I can use. Go in and tweak it and reply and say all that kind of stuff and how to make it better. One thing that I noticed when I was doing the corrections with it is the content just wasn't quite there yet. So I went out and I said, okay, flat out, hey, we have these two competitors, Seismic and Highspot. Can you kind of throw some snark in towards these competitors? And it was so funny. And one of my favorite lines, and I'm sure it does this for everyone, same towards Masset and everything as well. But oh, absolutely. There's so much to mock here in relation to Seismic and High Spot. I'm sure it's kind of this new tone that they've kind of updated, but kind of fun. So they came up with something pretty clever in the ad copy. I said, great, let's make the actual ad. And then here's the ad. And yeah, it kind of sucks, to be honest. The content's okay, but the ad kind of sucks. This is where you go back and forth. And I said, let's add an image. And this is one of the cool things in the update. I just said, so good, but the text is off. Can you fix it? And it did. And it came up with an ad. Again, this is not perfect. The margins aren't great. And I think I fixed margins later on. But here's what it came up with. And we started just 5 minutes ago with this Porsche ad that has gone down in history of being one of the greatest ads of all time. And it says, remember that time you logged into Seismic and never found your way back out, or when Highspot needed a training, just how to learn how to upload a PDF. Congratulations, you've experienced enterprise content management, also known as the place where good content goes to die. Like there's snark, there's value, all sorts of stuff. And then it goes further. They promise structure, you got a labyrinth. They promise insights, you got dashboards, no one checks. They promised adoption, you've got confusion, and 3% of your team actually using it. Enter Masset, everything you actually need to manage content because your team should spend time using content, not trying to remember where to find it. So it's kind of this really cool experience. Again, it came up with a really cool ad. And this is snarky and fun. It's something I would actually potentially run or put on our website or in an email blast, something like that. So I said, okay, now we're on the same theme. This is how we get even more value out of AI. And I said, let's go after Google Drive and Dropbox. So on the enterprise side, we compete with the Seismics and high spots. People just starting to explore sales enablement, content enablement. They're still using Google Drive, Dropbox, SharePoint, things like that. So it came up with a great idea. It came up with a cool ad with an image, but margins sucked, all that kind of stuff. So I said, add a top and bottom margin. And here, you spent 4 hours this week looking for a file. It's still not the right version. Google Drive promised collaboration. Dropbox said simple. SharePoint, that was never even funny. 19 folders named Q2 assets. Use this one. Version control by sheer luck. Zero analytics. And a team that gave up and just started slacking links around. And then it talks about Masset, and it's kind of fun. They have this cool little statement because your drive isn't driving anything. Like, that's a clever statement that honestly, I'm probably going to use from here on out. And then I went and decided to take it a step further. And how do we personalize these ads for a company? So it's funny, I worked for a company here locally in Utah called Weave for a long time. They competed with Podium. Kind of a funny story. I respect a lot of people that worked at Podium, all that kind of fun stuff. Great company, great product. So I just decided to use them as an example, and I might even tag Podium here. If you're watching Podium, how you doing? Let's talk. But what's kind of interesting, I could say, hey, well, let's create this version for Podium employees. And we went through a bunch of versions before and after, and then this Masset loves Podium. That's kind of clever. I mean, think about what you could do for your business, not only coming up with these really clever ads that are based off of industry, award-winning advertising, but how you could turn that into personalized advertising that's one off for your companies. I am sure there are developers and people out there that could take the OpenAI API, that's a mouthful, and give it a CSV list of every single one of these companies. And it could probably kick out all these ads and all sorts of stuff and then throw it into your email campaigns or paid advertising or whatever. I mean, there's a million different use cases. And what's cool about connecting to the API, if you don't know how to program, guess what? You could just ask ChatGPT to help you write that code anyways. And so just trying to open people's minds. There's a really cool opportunity with AI out there to get your name out there, be creative, to have fun. And I hope this kind of helped people learning about some of these new updates. And if you have any recommendations, suggestions, examples, throw them in the comments section. I'd love to see them and hear about them. But have a great day.